game set against Phil Garner's Houston Astros. And good evening, everybody. I'm Drew Goodman. Glad you're along. As always, the Rockies coming off a thrilling come-from-behind 10-9 extra inning win on Sunday. They are now 9-3 over their last 12 ball games, and the victory on Cincinnati allowed them to take the series against the Reds just the second time this year they've taken a home series. Now they match up with the Houston Astros, a team struggling, a team actually as bad in the standings as the Cincinnati Reds. Let me bring in my partner, Jeff Houston, tonight. And Jeff, we talk about a roster move. Steve Finley's, who's had a wonderful career, was designated for assignment earlier today, and Sean Barker, when he plays, will be making his major league debut.
Well, unfortunately for the Rockies, the Steve Finley and John Mabry experiment, if you will, did not work out. Both those guys deserve coming out of spring training, but think back to also Ryan Spilborgh's, his emergence somewhat, and now Sean Barker's going to get an opportunity. He's played very, very well in the springs, but he's going to get an opportunity now to kind of fill that role as a pinch hitter, somebody behind Spilborgh's.
And Barker was with the Colorado Springs Sky Sox last year and had a good year with them as well, a former 6th-round pick of the Rockies a few years back. The big story tonight is Jason Hirsch. He's facing the team that he came up with in the Houston Astros, and it's kind of a two-pronged story. One, he's going to have the nerves going because he's taking on Houston. The other thing is he needs a good outing. He's had 4 very poor outings after a very nice start to the season.
Well, it's kind of a Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, early on he pitched very, very well, and you think back to some of the starts he had in April. I mean, tough draws, and Greg Maddux a couple of times, Brad Penny, John Smoltz. You would think that the numbers would be reversed, looking to how he had to, the guys he had to face early on. But his last 4 starts just hasn't been very good. His command has been bad. His location's been bad. Those two things coupled together don't make for very good stats. And it will be interesting to see how he reacts tonight facing the Astros, as you mentioned, for the first time. So I'm sure he's got a little bit of nerves going there too.
Absolutely. Set to go at Coors Field on a pretty Tuesday night. With Jeff Houston, I'm Drew Goodman. Craig Biggio, I think you've heard of him. He'll step in first against Jason Hirsch. And the fastball is down low, and that's such a key pitch for every pitcher. And of late, in particular, Jason Hirsch, because he has struggled with his fastball command.
And that is where it really comes from for Jason. I mean, to be able to spot your fastball and locate it, and that's one thing Clint talked about in his pregame meeting today with the media.
And he spun off those first 2. You don't have to have a trained eye to see that.
And usually what happens when you're spinning off like that, you're trying to overthrow, create too much.
That was better, and it hit the strike zone. 2-1. We all become amateur pitching coaches.
Well, it's one of those things that's easy to see, though. When a guy falls off hard, especially a right-hander, off to the first base side.
Torrealba sets up on the outside corner, and he offered at it. In fact, a foul tip by Biggio as he tried to bunt his way on. So 2-2 on Craig Biggio. He has worn out the Rockies at Coors Field. Remember, he had a cycle here a few years back. Lifetime .399 hitter with 9 home runs and 34 RBIs. And of course, the big story individually for the Houston Astros and Craig Biggio, closing in on 3,000 hits, sitting at 2,978. So just 22 hits shy. What a glorious career he's had. On the ground at Tulowitzki. Troy's back out there. And he throws out Biggio, who's still in his 20th season, knows only one way to play, and that's all out as he sprinted down the line. Let's take a look at Phil Garner's lineup this evening. After Biggio, in the 2-hole have Hunter Pence, who has been one of the top rookies in the game this year. Lance Berkman struggling. We talked about it during the pregame show. Carlos Lee having a very good year in his first season in Houston. Mark Loretta, the veteran second baseman, at third tonight. Luke Scott, a left-handed bat in right field, and Adam Everett, Brad Ausmus, and the starting pitcher Wandy Rodriguez. Here's the gangly one, Hunter Pence, who's taken Texas by storm.
Well, and don't be surprised, this guy is 6'4", almost 210 pounds, but he can run a little bit too. I mean, as an infielder, you got to make sure you're on your toes, come get the baseball, because he will run hard the whole way.
And a breaking pitch, quickly 0-2. Pence was called up April 28th. Since his arrival in the big leagues, he's hitting .375. That's the highest average in the National League. And he was 4 for 5 on Sunday. An extra inning. Ball's popped up right side. Matsui. 2 outs. And let's take a closer glance at the Rockies starter, Jason Hirsch, the former second-round pick of the Astros in 2003.
Well, we talked about it in the open, and it's really been a Jekyll and Hyde for Hirsch. His last 4 starts haven't been good. That's part of the reason why his ERA is over 5 now. Before those starts, it was just above 3. Still has a pretty good strikeout to walk ratio, but he needs to put the hitters away, and that was part of his problem in his last outing against St. Louis. And stay focused against your old team each pitch, and you really have to put that out of your mind that that's who you're facing, and go out there and think of it as another major league ball club you're facing.
I think to get through this first inning so important because he struggled last couple outings in the first. There's a quick strike on Lance Berkman. We were looking at some of these numbers, and there's one that just blows me away. Lance Berkman. I mean, this guy is one of the top hitters year after year in baseball. It is June 5th. Berkman has not missed any time. He has 1 double. Well, 1.
You think that there should be another 1 in front of that, or maybe a 2. I mean, this guy drives the ball alley to alley as good as anybody. He just hasn't gone on track this year.
A lifetime .301 hitter with 231 home runs, closing in on 800 RBIs. And he's got 1 double on June 5th.
Yeah.
I mean, you said it in the pregame show. It just gives you an idea of how tough this game is. And he's admitted readily that he just has not felt comfortable at all at the plate this year.
And it started in spring training. He said from day 1 in spring training that I haven't found my stroke. I'm not comfortable. So consequently, what you're seeing from Lance is a guy that's out in front of breaking pitches, behind the fastballs, just hasn't gotten in sync with his swing, either from the right side or the left side.
2-2, strike 3 on the corner, and a good start for Jason Hirsch against his former team. 1-2-3 in the. We'll see the Rockies offensively. Fares farther, visit southwestairlines.com. And by Affleck, ask about it at work. Tonight's game is presented in FSN high definition and is available in HD on Comcast channel 664. Rain came through some neighborhoods earlier in the afternoon, but both teams got batting practice in. It's a very pleasant Tuesday night at the ballpark. Mr. Excitement, Willie Taveras to lead it off. He too playing for the first time against his former employers. Wandy Rodriguez, and his first pitch is inside ball 1 on Taveras. Kind of a love fest before the ball game for Willie. I mean, everybody coming up and hugging him, from Phil Garner to Craig Biggio to Orlando Palmeiro. So much so I finally said, you know, Willie, behind your back, they can't stand you.
Well, I don't think there was a single guy, I mean, including the equipment managers, everybody that didn't go up and give Willie a hug and say, hey, how you doing? You look good.
And you're playing good, because we've looked at the numbers.
but that just goes to show you what kind of person he is. Not so much a ball player, but a person.
And a line drive left center field. This will touchdown run. Willie a chance to stretch it to 2, and he's got himself a double. How good that must feel for Willie Taveras.
Well, no matter how things were and people liking you, you still want to come back and beat your old team. Wandy Rodriguez tried to run the fastball inside, and Willie just pulls his hands inside. Nice short compact swings, gets the hips through, and then you know once it's in the gap, Carlos Lee having to move to his left. It's not going to get Willie as well as he can run the bases. He easily gets in there for a double.
Well, a great start for the Rockies. See if they can capitalize for Willie. It's his 6th double of the year. And here's Kaz Matsui, one of the stars of the ball game on Sunday. The Rockies down 8-2. He came to bat down 8-5 with the bases loaded, and he ripped a bases clearing triple to the right field corner. Rockies won in 10 innings, 10-9. Willie with that double now has a 10-game hitting streak. And Matsui pulled the bat back.
I like that. Try to get the early lead. Try to get Willie over to third base. One way to do that is to bunt. Berkman's playing in close at first base. And it's really tough for Mark Loretta because he has to kind of turn sideways and read what's going to happen, because you never know. Willie might take off on the fake bunt too.
That's in there for a strike, 1-1. Kaz does not have many at bats from the right side. In fact, a couple of days ago he got his first hit from the right side. He was 0 for 6 prior to that, so he's 1 for 7 this year batting from the right side. Overall hitting .325. 5 of the first 6 hitters in the lineup for the Rockies over 300 now. 1-1, and it's bunted foul. Ausmus, as he always does, gave it great effort. Boy, he's been wearing that outfit for a long time now, hasn't he?
Well, and they keep trying to bring guys in to replace him, but he's a veteran guy behind the plate that handles pitchers extremely well, and that's why the Houston Astros pitchers love throwing to this guy. Calls a good game back there, and he throws out about 35% of the runners as well.
And Matsui, you could see him just waiting, trying to punch it to the right side.
That was just a good swing, even on the curveball, 73 miles an hour to stay back. Still look to hit the ball to the right side.
And Huey, I imagine some hitters, when they get to 2 strikes, that's not comfortable for them anymore.
They just say, forget it. I got to go ahead and swing, and however it works out, it does. See, Kaz's approach is still the same.
Downstairs, Rodriguez very much aware of Taveras. Not only does he know of his great speed, having played with him for a couple of years, but a left-handed pitcher, it's hard to keep track of that runner leading off second base. You're in a blind spot.
Well, and that's where the shortstop also helps out, though, too, and that's why Adam Everett is right behind Willie, not giving him any opportunity to get any further off the bag.
And again, line foul down the right field line. Good job by Matsui.
That was a different one. That was a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. Did the same exact thing. That just shows you the mindset right now of Matsui. Everything in this at bat, he's looking to right field. Even Luke Scott, the right fielder, has moved over a little bit closer towards the line.
Nobody out. Willie Taveras a double, leading off the bottom half of inning number 1. Inside, 3-2. Rodriguez in his last 2 outings has given up a combined 7 runs in the opening inning. He's kind of had an up and down season this year with Houston.
Early on it wasn't good, then he had 2 or 3 good outings, and now back to not pitching very well the last few.
And overall, the Astros are in the midst of a miserable stretch. They've lost 14 of 17 ball games, including at one point 10 in a row. And here's some more unbelievable numbers concerning that losing streak for Phil Garner's club. They saw the opposition score more runs than they produced hits during the 10-game losing stretch.
When I heard that today, I was astonished. I've never heard anybody or a team go through that kind of stretch before.
And this is a smash, and now Taveras is hung up. Willie trying to stay in it long enough to get Matsui to second, and he will. Willie committed a cardinal base running sin there. Ball right in front of him, and he tried to cross over. Let's take a look at the Rockies lineup this evening. After Matsui, Matt Holliday, and then Todd Helton in the 4-hole. Garrett Atkins, last 3 ball games, 4 for 9 with a home run. Brad Hopp, the reigning National League Player of the Week, just announced yesterday. Troy Tulowitzki, the shortstop, in the 7-hole. Yorvi Torrealba batting 8th, and then Jason Hirsch.
We mentioned the cardinal rule. When that ball is hit in front of you, you have to freeze, especially as hard as it was hit to Adam Everett. An easy rundown, but Willie did the right thing, staying in it long enough so Kaz could replace him at second base. Anytime that ball is hit to your right side, he cannot go.
when you're blessed with that great speed, sometimes you utilize it to gamble, and Taveras took the gamble there, and it didn't work out. Biggio going to second base, so Rodriguez, if he's not going to pick, has to at least step off and allow Biggio to get back.
Yeah, you have the second baseman holding on, Kaz, with Matt Holliday, the hitter, up, different type of hitter. Everett's over in the hole a little bit more now. But you're right, partner. As soon as that second baseman bluffs like it's going to be a pickoff, then Rodriguez, as a pitcher, cannot deliver the baseball home. He just has to step off, regroup, start all over.
Well, he can, but he's going to
be
hear
trouble,
about it.
Right after the pitch, the second baseman is going to come in and say, don't do that again.
Here's the 1-0 to Matt. He stays off that. It's 2-0. The key pitch for Wandy Rodriguez is the curveball, but you got to get to strike one to start utilizing the breaking pitch.
We talk about it so much that the number one pitch in baseball is commanding the fastball, and everything else works off that. And if you can't command that, even if you have the best breaking pitch, the guys are still able to sit on it.
3-0 on Holliday with Helton on deck. Matt riding a 12-game hitting streak. You know he has the green light here. Rodriguez knows it. Didn't offer at it. It's 3-1.
Well, some guys, whatever reason, they just don't feel comfortable hitting 3-0, and that one Matt was watching the whole way. Sometimes you'll do that just to gauge the pitcher as well. Just to take a look at Wandy Rodriguez's numbers. Is the 11th start on the season. Pretty good strikeout to walk ratio, 54-16. He will give you a pitch to hit. He's allowed more hits than innings pitched, and obviously doesn't like pitching on the road. Road ERA of 7.23.
And this is a flare to shallow right center. Biggio will get back and make the play. 2 outs. That'll bring up Helton. And let's take a look at the Astros defensively. In the outfield, Carlos Lee, Hunter Pence in center field, a high energy guy. Luke Scott is in right field. Loretta and Everett left side. Everett can really pick it. One of the best shortstops defensively in the game. Biggio and Berkman on the right side. Brad Ausmus won another Gold Glove last year. Third time he has won a Gold Glove for his expertise in catching. Caught more games than any Houston catcher before him. Helton trying to pick up a 2-out RBI. Todd has swung the bat well against Rodriguez, 5 for 8 in his career.
Lefties on the year, also hitting .341 off Wandy compared to .246 for right-handed hitters.
One and one. A little bit more on Brad Ausmus. Tonight he's catching his 1,744th game, which is second among active catchers. Only Pudge, Ivan Rodriguez, has caught more. He's at 1981.
Posada's got to be on that list.
He is. He's number 5. You want to try to figure out the other 2?
Give me 1 second. Pudge, Ausmus.
Yeah. One's a little tougher, but you'll see why in a moment. Go ahead.
Jason Kendall.
Jason Kendall's 4th. Who's 3rd? This is the tough one, because you wouldn't think of him right now. This ball's fouled off. 2-2.
Too much of a hint. Piazza.
Yeah, Piazza.
Yeah.
He's a DH now. He's hurt.
He's hurt, right.
But Mike has caught 1,634 games, 3rd active. And Jason Kendall, who catches every day for Oakland. And then Jorge Posada, who's having just a great year for the Yankees. The Yankees not having such a great year. They're losing right now 1-0 in the 5th to the White Sox. Strike 3 on Helton. Well, the Rockies waste a great opportunity. A leadoff double by Taveras. And they do not score. We go to the 2nd. For the second inning, fresh popcorn on the menu tonight. Jeff Houston has the keys to victory. Jeff?
Well, let's take a look at it. Number one, find some early offense. Take the pressure off Jason Hirsch. Keep Carlos Lee at bay. Leads all of baseball in RBIs. And a little bit of attitude from Atkins, much like he was on Sunday. Our keys to the game are brought to you by Burt Toyota. Sound the alert. Nobody but Burt.
May I tell you what the key to the game is, please? Yeah, I mean, those things you put together were very nice.
Thank you. Worked hard for those.
Well, I'm sure you're right on the money with those. The bottom line, the Rockies have to score more runs than the Astros tonight. Carlos Lee with a weak ground ball to the right side. Get his big bat out of there quickly. One out. That'll bring up Mark Loretta. And tonight is Tuesday night. And every Tuesday night, OfficeLiquidators.com sponsors our email the booth. Go to foxsports.com to log on and then search Rockies Booth. Foxsports.com, search Rockies Booth to submit your questions. And it is brought to you again by Office Liquidators. And OfficeLiquidators.com, you click, we ship free. Here's Loretta. I've always liked him. He is a very professional hitter. He's kind of in the same mold of Craig Biggio.
Well, he's really just flown under the radar. Think about this. This guy's close to 1,500 hits for his career.
And he pops this up to right field. Brad Hopp makes the catch. Two are gone. Well, 1,500 hits for Loretta. There's only 48 guys active right now in baseball with 1,500 hits. I mean, it's not Biggio going for 3,000.
No.
But 1,500 is quite a major league career.
Well, but think about a couple of the places he played. Not real media savvy places in Milwaukee and San Diego. Yeah, he had the stint in Boston, which I think elevated his notoriety, if you will. But he's a solid major league guy that can play a lot of different positions. Came up as a shortstop, second base, now third base for the Astros.
And Loretta's played everywhere for Phil Garner. He has 6 starts at shortstop this year, 2 at first. His natural position second. Luke Scott steps up. .232 average for Scott. Off the outside corner, it's 2-0. Luke, a product of Oklahoma State University. Willie Taveras territory. And Jason Hirsch has retired the first 6 Astros he has faced. Garrett Atkins will lead off for the Rockies when we come back to Coors Field. No score. Yeah, it's a beautiful sight. Still plenty of snow up in the high country. No scores. We go to the bottom of the second inning. And Garrett Atkins will step in first to face Wandy Rodriguez. Rockies had a great chance to score in the first. Leadoff double by Willie Taveras, but then he got caught in a rundown trying to cross in front of a ground ball by Kaz Matsui. 10th inning Sunday, tie ball game, not any longer. Garrett Atkins rips it to left field, and Matsui would score the game-winning run. 10-9 Colorado. Rockies now 5-3 in extra innings this year.
It was nice to see those two guys in the middle of everything. Garrett with a 3-for-5 afternoon on Sunday, and then of course you mentioned it earlier, Kaz's triple in the 8th inning, tied the ball game up.
Stayed off the curveball. 2 balls and a strike. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday against the Astros, and then it's off to Baltimore and Boston. That's pulled foul. Jeff Houston gets to go back to his old stomping grounds, Camden Yards.
That's going to be fun. What a great place.
We're going to ask you. We're going to ask you a few times about that ball game you started next to Cal Ripken. This ball to the gap in left center field. See if Garrett can get 2 bags out of it. He will. Pence drops it, and then Carlos Lee drops it. It would have been a double anyhow. So Garrett Atkins continues his hot hitting over the last few days.
Well, we just saw a shot on Sunday, what he did with the pitch that was up. Once again, they tried to elevate the fastball, and Garrett's able to get his hands on top of it. And now what you're starting to see from Garrett is the separation between his hands and his feet. As his foot is going forward, his hands going back. That's allowing him to drive the ball, wait a little bit longer, see the baseball. Consequently, a double.
And another guy who's been swinging the bat exceptionally well. Brad Hopp swung on a miss. Brad with his first National League Player of the Week award. Hit .455 last week with 3 home runs. That's exciting.
Oh my. I mean, not very often that you receive that honor to be recognized as the best in the National League for the week.
That'd be a big deal if you were the SEC West Player of the Week. He played at
LSU.
Yeah, great baseball school in LSU. See if Brad can move Garrett. And this ball to center field won't get it done. Pence with the catch, 1 out. Back-to-back innings, the Rockies have had a leadoff double.
We talk about situational hitting, being able to get guys over to third base with no outs, and so far in the first 2 innings, the Rockies have failed to do that.
Cost him in the first inning. Let's see what happens here. Troy Tulowitzki up. Chulo left Saturday night's ball game with a groin strain. Did not play on Sunday. And then, of course, had the day off yesterday. And here he is on Tuesday night.
Watching him take ground balls, moving around during batting practice. Everything looked fine. Obviously, the trainers and Clint wouldn't put him back in the lineup if that wasn't the case. But he was out there jumping around, moving just like he always does when he's fielding his ground balls.
Tulo had made 34 straight starts till Sunday. Maybe the hardest ball Wandy Rodriguez has thrown, right at 90.
And that's where he'll top out. He works around the 88, 89 mile-an-hour range. 90's about where he will get with his fastball. Curveball 73, 77 miles an hour, and his changeup's anywhere from 82 to 85.
3-0 with Torrealba on deck. We showed you the numbers earlier. Wandy Rodriguez has a great strikeout to walk ratio. Those numbers belie his record of 2-5 and a 4.5 ERA. Better than 3-1, or right in that 3-1 neighborhood. There's a strike. 3-1 now on Tulowitzki.
What's interesting also about Rodriguez, his last road win was back in July of 06. He's gone 0-6 with an 8 ERA in 11 starts since.
Wandy out of Santiago in the Dominican Republic. And a good curveball. So he comes all the way back and strikes out Tulowitzki for the second out in the second inning.
Let's take a look at the arms for the Houston Astros. In left field, Carlos Lee is below average with his strength, and you can really run on him because his range is limited. In center field, Hunter Prince is average across the board. And in right field, Luke Scott can also throw a little bit, but much like Carlos Lee, his range is limited. The strong arms have been brought to you by Franklin D'Azar and Associates. Injured in an accident? Call Franklin D'Azar and Associates. One call. That's all.
Let's see Torey Alba, who I know will be pitched to very carefully here by Wandy Rodriguez. See if he gets a pitch to hit first and see if he can come through if he does.
Well, this is the instance as a number 8-hole hitter in the National League that you have to expand just a little bit with the runner in scoring position. What I mean by expand the strike zone. A ball that might be a foot or excuse me, a ball off the plate, you might have to go ahead and swing at it.
Atkins at second, first base open. Jason Hirsch with one big league hit on deck.
And that's why I mentioned that as an 8th place hitter with a guy that is not known for his bat behind you with one big league hit, you have to expand just a little bit. Try to drive in that run yourself. And you can see what Rodriguez is doing though now. I mean, he's not even giving him a baseball that is just a little bit off the plate.
See if Ausmus looks in the dugout, stands up now. Not crouching there still. He's gone to the crouch. I thought he made you stand up and put him on.
He'll probably throw him another breaking pitch. Just down in the dirt, nothing close. Maybe a changeup. See if he'll fish for it.
He got a fastball, and that was a pretty good pitch.
I'm really surprised at 3-1 that they would even give him something that close to the plate.
Strike 3 on the corner. So Rodriguez pitches to Torey Alba and he strikes him out. Rockies again do not cash in on a leadoff double. Atkins left straight. No scores. We go to the 3rd inning. Chevy offers more choices of flex fuel vehicles than anyone. When you drive any of these Chevy flex fuel vehicles, you can help reduce greenhouse emissions and reduce our dependency on foreign oil. Good for the environment, good for the economy, good for Colorado. Chevy, made for Colorado. Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston from the ballpark, and we welcome in a special guest tonight, Greg Creed, who is the CEO of the Taco Bell company, joins us. So you're the big burrito, aren't you?
I'm the big burrito, yeah. I'm the Australian selling Mexican-inspired food to Americans. That's what I am.
Something tells me you've run that line once or twice.
I've run that one a couple of times, exactly.
How'd you do? You threw out the first pitch tonight.
I was a bit nervous, but there was a lot of money riding on it. Actually raised $25,000 for the Boys and Girls Club.
With that one pitch?
Yeah, there's 8 franchisees out here, and they put up $24,000 if I threw a strike, and it got called a strike, and I put 1,000 in, so 25,000.
Who was umpiring? The thing hit the screen.
No. It was definitely a strike from where I was standing.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well done. I know you're doing great work with the Boys and Girls Clubs, especially here in Denver. Why don't you tell us about what you're doing?
Yeah, we just donated $125,000 to the Boys and Girls Clubs in Denver. Bought a new bus, new van, so we can transport the kids around, and also really spent the rest of the money on other initiatives that we've got in the Denver area. And it's really important for us because I think, as you know, there's like 30% of high schoolers aren't graduating high school. They're not even graduating high school, and so we wanted to really get focused on teens, and we want these kids to get a great education, graduate high school, and go on to live a great productive life. So.
And it's startling in Denver, in the city of Denver, in the Denver public school system, it is more than 50%, which is just tragic.
It is tragic. I mean, I think you think about the things you can give. What can you give a kid? The greatest thing you can give a kid is an education.
Sure.
And that's what we're up about.
Well, congratulations, Greg, on that endeavor, and I know that you're involved throughout the country. From Taco Bell standpoint, are you worldwide now, or?
We're not worldwide, though. We are opening in Mexico, would you believe? Which I think is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And
there's some competition down
exactly.
there.
And then we're actually opening in Dubai, in the Middle East, before the end of the year. So starting to move outside the US. So it's very exciting.
So what do you think about baseball? I know you grew up a cricket fan from Australia.
I did. I grew up playing cricket. And the good thing about cricket is you're allowed to bounce the ball. In fact, you're meant to bounce the ball before the batter gets to hit it. But my son plays. He was at Tennessee, University of Tennessee. And he's a big baseball fan. And we really love the game.
He's a pretty good player from the University of Tennessee at first base. Todd Help.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, go Vols.
Yeah.
So, no, it's really good.
On the ground, the second, Kaz Matsui. Of course, this is an international game, and as I'm sure you're aware, there are several Aussies who are now playing in the big leagues and have played in the big leagues.
Yeah, it's very exciting to see Australians. You know, they've always been good at golf, but now they're playing baseball, they're playing NFL. It's really exciting to see Australians sort of get outside the country and not just play rugby and cricket.
Yeah, I lived in London for a short time.
Right.
When you have a test match in cricket, the thing I like about baseball, people here in Colorado, we've complained from time to time at the length of the games because the altitude, and there's been a lot of runs historically here, so we've played 3.5 hours, sometimes 4 hours.
Right.
That's nothing compared to
absolutely nothing.
Test match, right?
A cricket test match lasts 5 days, and most times it's a draw. There isn't a winner. So, and it starts at 10 in the morning till 6 at night for 5 days, and 50% of the time there's no result. It's just a draw.
You want to know what? That's a lot of time invested for an attaboy.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of things that occur before the game as well. I don't want to say.
You can't say it on air.
Can't say it on air.
Okay.
But yeah.
Here's the 1-1 on Wandy Rodriguez. Now 1-2. Greg, what are you off to next in terms of endeavors from a philanthropic standpoint?
Well, I think we've donated about 18 million over 12 years to the Boys and Girls Club.
That's awesome.
And we're really into focusing, as I said earlier, on getting teens to graduate high school, to get an education, because we think that's the most powerful thing that we can do. And we're really being very single-minded about it.
Greg Creed is our guest, the COO. I want to make sure I get
CEO, president.
You were CEO. I said CEO.
Yeah, you were right. Yeah,
but,
that's
okay, good. CEO, and I'm looking here at COO. You have every title. Does anybody else do anything at Taco Bell?
Exactly.
President.
Exactly. The big burrito. I like that.
You like that?
I might use it.
Can you steal that?
I can.
Hold on. We got to do a little business here on the side. Hey, Greg. We'll come back in a couple of moments. No score. The Rockies and Astros, middle of 3. Hirsch looks terrific. Of the third inning, Jason Herschel lead it off 9-1-2 for the Rockies. Tonight on the Best Damn Sports Show period, Red Sox manager Terry Francona drops by to tell us if Boston can keep up their incredible pace. Plus, Celtics star Paul Pierce helps us get ready for the NBA Finals. That's the Best Damn Sports Show period tonight at 11 p.m. only on FSN Rocky Mountain. Hirsch was 0 for 31 and then picked off his first big league hit. He's 1 for 35 in his career, facing his former teammate Wandy Rodriguez. And a quick 1-strike count. And 0-2. Greg Creed has joined us, the CEO of Taco Bell, and they've given a $75,000 grant and new bus to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro Denver, which will help out, I'm sure, immensely in all of their programs this summer.
Yeah, it helps get the kids around and gets them to different facilities, and so they can take advantage of different opportunities, which is really important.
We were involved with a baseball clinic, FSN, and the Rockies a couple of weeks ago. This is on the ground at Berkman. And look at Hirsch busting it up the line. He made Berkman go. That's the hardest I've seen a pitcher run on a ball to the first baseman maybe ever.
And that's what Lance Berkman was thinking as well. Hirsch started out trotting just a little bit and then realized that he had a chance to beat Berkman to the bag. Berkman had to hustle at the last second. It was bang bang. Beat him by a half step. Nice effort from Jason. Wow. Now get back to cricket for a second. What position did you play?
I played what was called the wicket keeper, which is essentially the catcher. So similar role, catch the ball if the batsman misses it. It's called wicket keeper, but it's really the catcher position, which I played in high school and college.
Did you play any other positions, or were you?
No, that was it. I pretty well. Everyone bats, same as baseball, so everyone gets to bat. So I batted. and kept wickets. Yeah.
Now, what's the deal? Help me out. When you hit the ball in the stands,
Yeah.
in cricket, is that a good thing?
Yeah. If you hit it like a home run, if you hit it over the fence on the full, 6 runs.
6 runs.
If you hit it into the fence, whether it bounces or on the full, 4 runs. The big difference between cricket and baseball is, in cricket, if you hit it, you don't have to run if you don't like it. So let's assume the batsman hits it to shortstop and knows he's going to get run out at first. You don't run. You just stand there and have another go.
So he just stops.
He just stops. He doesn't even run.
Does he get a hit again?
Yeah, he gets a hit again.
See, I like that. You know what? You just stay up.
Yeah, you stay up.
If you're successful, you stay up.
Exactly.
And that's
you,
why
you pick the ball you want to run on.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why it lasts 5 days.
That's why it lasts 5 days, because you can just stand there all day if you feel like it.
That's a pretty good deal.
That's a great.
Ted Williams, I mean, he'd be up there for a month.
Yeah.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Willie Taveras. Greg, you got to see this guy run. He's one of the fastest guys in baseball. He's not going to get to run here, though. Right. Strike 3. Next time, watch when he runs. Hey, before the ball game, you were tossing the ball around with some children from the Boys and Girls Clubs. What a thrill for a young kid to come out and look around. Even as an adult, I try to pinch myself. I feel so blessed to work in Major League Baseball. Here you are.
Yeah.
Say, oh, you know what? That's good for him.
Yeah.
But to see the 50,000 plus seats in a stand on a Major League diamond, that's got to be just a thrill for these young guys.
You know what's amazing? You saw the 800 kids walk around earlier.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
You look at the parents that were with them.
Yeah.
They were as starstruck as the kids.
They were always.
It wasn't just the kids that were starstruck. It was the parents.
Here's the 1-0 to Kaz Matsui.
I also saw you down there squatting like you were a catcher for the kids to throw to you.
Yeah, because wicketkeepers squat. It's exactly the same. It really is.
Well, baseball has its origins in cricket, does it not?
It does, actually.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I do believe so.
Did you play rugby?
I definitely played rugby. Big rugby fan.
Well, it's going to be a quick inning. Hey, Greg, we really appreciate it. Continued success with Taco Bell, and thanks for all of the good work.
It was a pleasure to meet you, and I really enjoyed it, and thanks for giving us a chance to talk about the Boys and Girls Club.
You betcha. Greg Creed is the CEO of Taco Bell, and they've made a huge donation to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro Denver. Fittingly, the Taco Bell game reset. Jason Hirsch has been magnificent through the first 3 innings. He's faced 9 and he's set all 9 down, including a couple of strikeouts. Nobody has hit the ball hard so far against Jason Hirsch, but Wandy Rodriguez, other than giving up a couple of doubles, has been able to match Jason Hirsch.
Think about it, though. I mean, both guys coming in 2 and 5. You think that the hitters would have the advantage. So far it's the pitchers. Rodriguez with 4 strikeouts, Hirsch with 2.
Top of the 4th, and Craig Biggio, who grounded to Tulowitzki his first time up, and he's way out in front on the breaking pitch, 0-1.
First time through the lineup, Hirsch primarily used the fastball to set up the hitters. This time he starts off with the curveball to Biggio.
On the ground, foul to third. Well, Biggio is traveling this particular road trip with his 2 boys, 14 and 12. Craig also has a daughter at home who's 7. And they're pretty good baseball players. See, they're getting loose.
Well, you never know. Bill might need to use them, come in, pinch hit.
That's right.
Now, what a thrill for the kids, though.
Biggio's from Long Island originally, but he's now the favorite son down in Houston. 20 years in an Astro uniform. And one day, barring the bizarre, he will go to Cooperstown. Swung on and missed. Another good breaking pitch from Jason Hirsch. That's his 3rd strikeout. And let's check an email. This from Stan in Denver. Do you know how fast the shortstop, third baseman, and the second baseman throw to first? Well, you know, sometimes they put a radar gun. I've heard of 95, 96 from a shortstop, you know, with great arms. Sean Dunston had a huge arm.
And this young man in short Tulowitzki might have one of those type of arms too. Typically what happens, though, is you really don't get a radar gun on you from those positions unless you're at a tryout camp. And scouts sometimes will stand behind first base, and there's a radar gun that I'm talking about. And that's how they'll get the speed Typically, your shortstop's going to have the strongest arm, followed by your third baseman. And then last but not least would be the second baseman.
I'll tell you, if you have a second baseman like Jose Castillo with the Pittsburgh Pirates that has a real strong arm. Matsui has a pretty strong arm as former shortstop. Line, that's the hardest hit ball, but right at Atkins. And Hunter Pence is retired. But if you have a second baseman that can turn the double play with a plus arm, that's a big bonus.
Well, it actually helps you out by about a step or so, and that means the difference between safe and out a lot of times. And the guy that has a strong arm can make the strong turn. It just helps everybody else out with their fielding percentage, helps the pitchers out with their double plays.
Lance Berkman caught looking at a fastball in the outside corner his first time up. Too quickly out in the fourth inning. And on the ground to second base. Hirsch continues to roll along. He has set down the first 12 of the ball game. 6 pitches in the fourth for Hirsch. No score. The Rockies have 2 doubles. Taveras led off the first inning with a double. And Garrett Atkins led off the second with a double. But the Rockies could not cash either one of those guys in. Who are the last 3 players to reach the 3,000 hit mark? 22 hits shy right now for Craig Biggio. Matt Holliday drives the first pitch to left center field. This will be at least a double. In fact, Holliday thinking about 3. And Matt picking it up. He'll have a leadoff triple. Hunter Pence had trouble picking it up in deep center field, and Matt Holliday has himself a triple.
Well, Wandy Rodriguez was able to get Matt to fly out to second base his first time up, and Matt now hits his 4th triple on the year. Breaking pitch right over the middle part of the plate. The high late kick and the extension and the drive of the baseball into the gap. What allows him to get to third base, though, is once his ball hits the fence, it kicks to the right of Hunter Pence. Takes him 2 extra steps to pick up the baseball. Matt easily slides into third with a triple.
And Helton, a little arc in his swing, trying to lift the baseball, fouls it off 0-1. Todd caught looking his first time up with Matsui at second base. Todd just 3 for 21 on the homestand. And that's a strike. 0-2.
Early in the ball game, the Rockies have not been good with runners in scoring position. We mentioned it in the first inning and again in the second. So far, they're 0 for 6 for the ball game.
Pretty much, you get this one in play, you have yourself a run. Everybody's back in the infield. Not going to happen. Boy, you don't see that much. Todd Helton, an opportunity to drive in a run.
And the other thing,
failing to do so
on 3 straight pitches.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy that typically will find a way to foul a pitch off till he can get one to hit.
Rodriguez has struck out 5 in 3 1/3. Well, Atkins doubled his first time up. He's 5 for his last 10, showing signs of coming out of a season-long struggle.
Now with 1 out, Phil Garner brings the infield in.
That's pretty standard.
Well, you saw the difference in strategy with no outs. Go ahead and let them, if they can, hit a ground ball, get the 1 out, don't play for the big inning. Now with 1 out, pull the infield in.
This will get the run home. It's going to run all the way to the wall. Garrett Atkins, I think, is officially back, using the off gap for a double, and it's 1-0 Colorado. That is the kind of hit that was reminiscent of a year ago, where he just wore out right center field.
And it has the backspin on it to be able to get by Luke Scott. Luke got a pretty good jump on the baseball, but he was able to stay back enough and then just drive the ball to the extension. Think about his double back in the second inning. A pitch that was up, he pulled it into the left center field gap. Now Brad Osmus and Wandy Rodriguez think they can work him away. He stays on it and drives it to the gap in right center field.
Just a small flavor of what Clint Hurdle believed and still believes this lineup's capable of. I mean, you have Holiday, you have all the speed up top, then you have Holiday, you have Helton. Helton, rear time doesn't come through. Atkins, and after Atkins you have Hop. That's a lot for a pitcher to deal with.
And that's where the lineup top to bottom comes into play.
Here's Brad, and he takes a strike.
Todd's not going to be able to drive in the runs all the time. You need guys to follow him up. That's where guys like Garrett Atkins and this man Brad Hop certainly help things out.
Foul ball. Brad, since May 16th, the last 3 weeks, 4th in the National League in hitting. Dimitri Young hitting .519 during that time. Hunter Pence hitting .429. Albert Pujols at .397, then Brad Hop at .392. Up second in RBIs during that same period with 17. 0-2, and this is up the middle. Biggio does not make the play. It is on the backhand side. A play normally Biggio will make, so Hop is safe on the error. And to third base goes Garrett Atkins.
You just don't see that very often from Biggio, even though it was to his backhand. He was shading Brad toward the hole at first base, but his footwork got messed up right at the end. He took a little choppy step to try to figure out how he was going to get it. Was he going to step and plant, or was he going to work through it, throw off balance as he was going away towards first, or going away from first base?
Troy Tulowitzki struck out his first time. Chance to do some damage here. 1 out. Runners at first and third. Rockies ahead 1-0. Outside ball 1.
Well, his first at bat, Troy struck out on a breaking pitch. That was primarily what they went to, was off-speed pitches. With the first pitch fastball, see if they go back to the off-speed breaking pitch, changeup.
Good swing there. Tulowitzki had a good pass at a pitch on the inner half.
And it was down too, right where he likes to hit the baseball. I mentioned it, down and in. They tried to work him in, left it right over the middle part of the plate. When you foul it straight back, you're right on it.
It's low, 2-1.
I'm surprised at the way they're pitching to Troy right now. 3 straight fastballs. Good fastball hitter.
They want the
sinker away. Try to get him to roll over for a double play. Nice eye.
Good eye. I mean, that's a pitch, honestly, a month ago, Troy probably swings at.
Oh, he would have, because he was over anxious in this situation, wanting to drive in the runs, wanting to produce right away. Now he's learned the strike zone a little bit better, has a little bit more patience.
In the air down the right field line. It's going to drift out of play. 3-2. Let's check an email. Again, presented by Office Liquidators. Ron in Boise, Idaho, with Tulowitzki settling in at shortstop. What does the future hold for Clint Barmes? Well, Clint's hitting .296 right now in Colorado Springs. Home run, 11 RBIs in 40 ball games. Clint can pick it at shortstop. But times change. Right now he's blocked by the play of Tulowitzki. And one thing that you know very well, Jeff, as a player, when you go out and play, you're not only playing for your own organization and your own scouts and your general manager, but there's 29 other organizations also that may be looking for the position you play.
Well, what's happened now too with scouts, a lot of them have been pulled off the amateur stuff because of the draft is going to happen in 2 days. They start to go to pro scouting, where they start scouting organizations. And that's exactly what's happening. You're having a lot more scouts go to the AAA games now.
Swung on and and miss. So Rodriguez wins that battle with Tulowitzki. And now it'll take a 2-out knock to drive in the runner at third base, Garrett Atkins.
We'll finish that thought on Clint. I mean, he might be playing for somebody else. I mean, obviously the way Troy's playing right now, there's no reason to do anything different. And that's the way the game is. You get your opportunity, you do something with it. Troy's certainly providing everything and more right now for the Rockies.
Torrealba caught looking his first time up. He comes out in an aggressive mode, and well he should, with Hirsch on deck.
Much like it was back in the second inning, Norwood might have to expand the strike zone. That's why he came out swinging at that first pitch fastball.
One and one. Let's check another email. This concerning the Rockies catchers. Catherine in Fort Collins wants to know about the catching situation. I noticed that Torrealba has been starting more often. Do you know why this is? Well, he has caught 32 ball games and Chris Ionetta has caught 25. Now, Chris initially was the more everyday catcher, but Chris is hitting below 200, and that's it in a nutshell as to why Torrealba seems to be catching more over the last few weeks. Chris has done a good job defensively, still trying to find his offensive game at this level. 1-1's there, 1-2.
And the other thing too is right now that Torrealba is throwing out 37% of the runners. And compare that to Chris's 19%. If you're not hitting the baseball, you have to make sure that you're doing other things, throwing out base runners, calling a good game, and Chris is calling a good game now. You still have to be able to throw those guys out.
Rodriguez has already thrown 75 pitches. He trails only 1-0 in this game. 2-2. Runners at first and third, 2 outs. And Torrealba slashes at this one.
It seems like every hitter, Wandy Rodriguez has been 2-2, 3-2. And also, when you have 6 strikeouts, a lot of times you're going to throw a lot more pitches.
Torrealba got low bridge, 3-2.
So 3-2, 2 outs now. Lance Berkman is backed up behind Brad Hopp at first base. Still, the base runner has to make sure that the pitcher goes home. Allows him to get a couple extra steps and a ball hit in the gap.
Ball 4, so that will load the bases. And Jeff Hirsch will come up. Jason Hirsch will come up.
Well, let's take a look at the pitches by inning from Wandy Rodriguez. Pretty high numbers in the first and second, 23 and 20. Settled down in the third. Back to 23 pitches here in the fourth, and still only 2 outs for a total of 78. And brought to you by Sonic.
the knees. Well, Hirsch has gotten the first big league hit out of the way. He needs to get the first big league RBI out of the way.
The outfielders are come in a little bit in center field and right field. Carlos Lee stays in his normal position in left. He doesn't move from that spot too often. Jason Hirsch wasn't too happy with this call right at the knees when it finished up in the glove. Looked a little bit low, and that's where he saw it. That's not where Ed Hickok's had it.
Rockies have picked off a run in the inning. Matt Holliday led off with a triple. And 1 out later, Garrett Atkins doubled to right center field. Rockies own the only 4 hits of the ball game. And Hirsch went around. And that's all for Colorado. They leave them loaded. They have a 1-0 lead. They will take to inning number 5 at Coors Field. 1-0 Colorado as we go to the top of the 5th inning. Let's take a look at our fun fact tonight from Excel Energy. Former Astros player and general manager Bob Watson scored the millionth run in Major League Baseball history back in 1975. Watson on base when Milt May went deep at the stick. And of course, Bob Watson now in the commissioner's office in New York and has been for a while. If you get in trouble, you have to deal with Bob Watson.
Yeah, you don't want to deal with that man.
No. Here's another fact from Excel Energy. Renewable energy could help reduce the amount of emissions in the air each year by 20,000 pounds of carbon dioxide. By the way, coming into today, Doug looked this up. Actually, he counted. There's been 1,711,214 runs scored all time. It's a lot of toes and fingers on.
I was going to say.
Had to count.
Got some help for that, didn't you, Doug?
Carlos Lee will lead it off for Houston in the 5th inning. Lee hit a weak ground ball on the first pitch he saw to second baseman Kaz Matsui. And the fastball up high.
Much like Albert Pujols had just left a few days back, you like to see this guy come to the plate with nobody on. He's an RBI machine. The 52 RBIs is first in all of baseball.
He's tied with Maglio Ordonez. He's been consistent offensively. Hunter Pence has been real good offensively. Mark Loretta has been pretty solid offensively. Other than those 3, not much to shout about for the Houston Astros. And that's why they're near the bottom in almost all offensive categories, and they play in a very good hitter's park.
Well, think back to the last 3 guys in the lineup tonight, not including the pitcher. You have a guy hitting 232, 218, 236 coming into the ball game.
3 and 1.
I mean, you're just not getting much production from that bottom part of the lineup. And then you throw in Lance Berkman on top of that, somebody that's used to driving in a lot of runs, being on base a lot. It's a bad recipe.
Popped up on the 3-1 pitch. Matsui and Helton, and Todd will defer to Kaz.
Well, we talked about Wandy Rodriguez and his high pitch counts last half inning. Take a look at Jason Hirsch. I mean, 13 pitches, 6 in the second. Well, that's outstanding. And then 10 in the third, not too bad. 7 in the fourth, a couple 7 and 6s, and now 5 so far in the 5th inning for a total of 41. Compare that to Wandy's 78-80. This brought to you by Sonic.
Here's Mark Loretta. Only 1 ball has been hit hard in the ball game by Houston. Now it's Pence in the 4th inning, hitting a line drive right at Garrett Atkins.
Everything else has been weak ground balls, easy pop-ups.
1 ball, 1 strike on Loretta, who was with Houston briefly final portion of 2002, and he hit over 400 with the Astros. But then he was signed by the Padres, played 3 years with San Diego. Last year with the Red Sox, he had 285. 5 home runs, 59 driven in. 2-1.
Mentioned he's one of those valuable guys that just can go out there and play so many different positions and do so many things for a manager. And then the other thing is he provides you with a lot of offense.
Good breaking pitch at the knees. 2-2.
We start him off with the curveball, his first pitch in this at bat. Throws a couple fastballs and then throws the hard breaking pitch down, and you can see the knees buckle ever so slightly for Mark Loretta.
This ball's hit pretty well left field. Holiday will make the catch. Loretta drove it 390 feet. Matt Holiday tracked it down. There are 2 outs in the 5th.
Well, that was all set up by the pitch before where he's able to throw the breaking pitch. Even though he did miss his spot a little bit with that pitch to Loretta, wasn't able to square it up completely. We talk about first pitch strikes and how they're so important for every pitcher, but Jason Hirsch especially. Tonight he is 11 for 14 first pitch strikes.
Just missed. Luke Scott and his former teammate Willie Taveras are very close friends. I'll tell you a story in a moment. Good changeup. 1-1. In fact, Willie and Luke made a pact that they would each speak to each other, try to speak to each other in the other's language. So Willie would learn English and Luke would learn Spanish.
And that's why Luke is now fluent in Spanish. I mean, that's such a valuable tool to have, to be able to communicate. And a lot of times, typically, when you get to the big leagues, guys from Latin countries can't speak the English language, and it's great. But when you have somebody that's willing to do it the other way, it just shows you the special bond you have with your teammates sometimes.
Well, those two played together in the Cleveland organization before coming to Houston. Took something off again. And there's that tough changeup that we saw in April. That's a great story. Two guys who came up together, and this game does forge a lot of close relationships because of time spent together. Well,
especially in the minor leagues, 8, 10, 12 hours on a bus together. You got to do something to pass the time.
2-2, and Scott in the air toward Taveras. Can Willie get there? Nope, it's off the base of the wall. And Scott thought about going to third, and then he kind of stumbled going over second base. The first hit of the ball game, a 2-out double by Luke Scott. That breaks up the perfect game for Jason Hirsch in the 5th inning.
Well, he just got a fastball that he was able to get out in front of just a little bit. Not a bad pitch, working down and away. But the extension, the full follow through, gets the hips turned, drives it into the gap in right center field. And for a second, it looked like Willie had a chance to get this baseball. And then just hits at the bottom part of the wall. He was going for third until he hit the bag and realized with 2 outs, you don't want to make the third out at third base.
Well, Adam Everett up there, and though Adam's numbers for the year not very good, 218. He's actually started to swing the bat much better. Hitting 342 over his last 12.
Well, the funny thing, too, is Adam hits right-handers better than he does left-handers.
Only guy in the Astros lineup who can make that claim.
Yeah, hitting 230 off right-handers, 182 off left-handers.
You were going to say that, weren't you?
I was going to say that.
Stole your thunder. 2-0 on Everett. Rockies ahead 1-0. And this in the air to Brad Hobb. Brad's got to come quickly. He will. And that is all for the Astros in the 5th. So the first base runner for Houston, a double by Luke Scott. And the Rockies will take a 1-0 lead to the bottom half of inning number 5. Up the Jets, a double. Unfortunately, Willie would not score in that first inning. Panasonic Plasma, speed of sports. Back with Jeff Houston. I'm Drew Goodman. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Rockies leading 1-0. Jason Hirsch has been outstanding. It'll be Taveras, Matsui, and Holiday. And I want to take a moment to wish one of my boys, Zachy, a very happy 7th birthday. Zachary, I love you more than anything in the world. Happy birthday, buddy. Oh, 1 on Taveras.
Does that get a party or anything this last week? Okay.
Tomorrow at Laser Quest.
I was going to say. Dougie says he's invited.
Well, Dougie will get zapped pretty quickly. Two balls and a strike. Those places are fun. They didn't have those places when you and I were turning 7.
They bring the kids over to the house. You'd sing happy birthday, have a cake, and that was it.
Right.
Now you get Laser Quest, Bat City.
You tear up the house. now moms are really smart
Chuck E.
about
Cheese.
that. Yeah, I mean, they take it outside.
Yeah.
I love those places with the monkey business. They have those big inflatables. I like going on.
Oh, those are fun.
Yeah. And Willie gets under this one. Pop fly to right field. I'll tell you what, for a moment, I think Luke Scott lost that.
They both did, Hunter Pence and Luke Scott.
All right, 1 out. Biggio looking up, checking if the sky's falling or not. Who are the last 3 players to reach the 3,000 hit mark? Biggio's 22 hits away. Palmeiro, wouldn't he be one?
Yep.
Yeah, Rafael Palmeiro, your former teammate. Ricky Henderson. And another one of your former teammates, Cal Ripken Jr. Now, were you around when Cal got the 3,000th hit?
No.
Were you playing with him then?
No. That was after my time.
Kaz shortens up to bunt. One and one. Email concerning Kaz Matsui. Brian and Loveland, would it make sense to switch Matsui and Taveras in the order? Kaz seems to use the bat more effectively to get on base. I don't know about that. I mean, Willie Taveras is hitting 327 coming in, leading baseball in bunt hits. I think it's worked out pretty nicely the way it is.
Well, and the other thing too, then you have a switch hitter hitting in the number 2 hole,
right?
Which I think is a little bit more valuable. Even if you have a runner on first base, you can hit from the left side, right side. If they decide to switch to a left-handed pitcher, I just like having that switch hitter in the number 2 slot.
3 O's in there, 3 and 1.
It's certainly nice to have that speed at the top of the lineup, though.
There's a base hit for Matsui. That speed will move to first base.
Kaz hasn't had quite as many opportunities hitting from the right side as he has from the left. His swing's very similar from both sides of the plate, though. Uses the top hand to drive that bat through the zone, gets that foot locked in right here and gets the drive off that back leg, head extension down that way. Good follow through.
Got jammed and popped it up. So Holiday, who scored the Rockies' only run in the 4th after tripling, is retired. 2 outs. That'll bring up Helt.
Don't forget that this Wednesday night, tomorrow, is the food drive hosted by the Colorado Rockies organization. They'll be at all gates at Coors Field, and they'll be collecting donations of cash, canned foods, and non-perishable food items. All collections will benefit the Denver Rescue Mission. That's tomorrow, Wednesday, June 6th.
Let's take a look at an email right now from Bill in Discovery Bay, California. We'll miss your colleague in the booth, Keith Blyer. He mentioned last week that he was going to Oregon. Could you elaborate? Yep, Keith is taking a job in Bend, Oregon. He's going to do television and also one of his other passions. Keith's an outstanding soccer coach. Keith was a terrific player, played at Santa Clara, and he really enjoys coaching youth soccer, and he's going to run a program in that part of Oregon. They have him picked off. Now can Kaz outrun the throw? Nope. They get him at second. We will miss Keith quite a bit as well. Keith has a few more days, so you'll hear from him before it's time to depart. But thank you very much for that email. 1-0 as we move on to inning number 6. Southwest Airlines, you are now free to move about the country. And Mike Fox is hungry again, our director tonight. We showed the tornado the other day, and they're selling like tornadoes tonight. I was going to say like hotcakes, but they're selling like tornadoes.
Those are pretty good. The other day after the pregame show, sitting watching the ball game with my son for a couple innings.
You had 6 of them, didn't you?
3.
3.
Yeah.
Nice dinner.
Dessert before the main course, always the best way to go.
That's right. Brad Ausmus, Wandy Rodriguez, Craig Biggio to face Jason Hirsch, who has bounced back nicely after several subpar outings. He has allowed 1 hit in 5 innings. That's it. A 2-out double by Luke Scott.
With this pitcher's spot on deck, Orlando Palmeiro's already grabbed a bat, and we talked about Wandy Rodriguez's high pitch count. Chad Qualls is now up and tossing in the Astros bullpen.
Curveball, did he go? No swing. CB Buckner down at first.
Certainly looked like he went around. He held his hands and kept them stiff. Barrel of the bat didn't cross the plate. Nice call from CB.
Down low. You know, Brad Ausmus, as many of you who followed baseball know, went to Dartmouth, originally drafted by the Yankees. He has a degree in government from Dartmouth. His dad was a professor at Southern Connecticut State in European history. Brad Ausmus goes to first base, and we go to the studio. Tim Ring with a baseball update at the Chevy Sports Desk.
Hey, Drew, is downright kooky in Canada tonight. Tampa, Toronto tied at 11 in the ninth. Bases loaded. Tim Corcoran walks in the winning run. Blue Jays, who trailed at one point 11-6, come back to win at 12-11. How about that?
Sounds a little bit like the ball game we saw here Sunday when the Rockies trailed the Cincinnati Reds 8-2 in the 6th inning and came back and won in extra innings. Well, Hirsch has walked his first batter of the game. Orlando Palmeiro, another one of those former teammates of yours, up there to pinch hit. Where'd you play with him? With the Angels?
Angels in '99. Orlando's another valuable guy to have on your bench. He can come up, pinch hit.
You know, Orlando today, when you visited with him, a little different than some of your ex-teammates that we've run into throughout the last couple of years. He didn't duck you.
I was wondering where you were going with this.
Well, I just report the facts. That is my job.
Right. We actually sat down and had a very nice conversation, mainly about families and how everything was going in that regard.
Runner going. It's a hit and run, and it's going to go past Tulowitzki. And first and third for Houston with nobody out. Well, your old teammate, that was one heck of a play.
Well, and the thing about it, it was a fastball away, a pretty good pitch to try to hit the other way. It was off the plate about 6 inches. He just reaches his bat out. He was able to hit it past the diving Tulowitzki at shortstop. And that's what you can do with an Orlando Palmeiro, because that guy just does not swing and miss very often. It's a 6-pinch hit on the year.
That's going to keep him in the game even longer. 1-0 Colorado. This is the first problem for Jason Hirsch in the ballgame. Biggio ground out and a strikeout. And his knees buckled on that breaking pitch. 0-1. Let's take a look at our Esurance Inside information. Of the 26 players to reach 3,000 hits, 8 have done it with one team. Stan the Man, Al Kaline, Roberto Clemente, who finished right at 3,000 hits. Carl Yastrzemski, George Brett, Robin Yount, Cal Ripken Jr., and Tony Gwynn. What a class to be in, huh? And Biggio out front again a little bit.
Obviously some big names with that. I mean, how about Stan the Man, George Brett, Yaz?
Harder for it to happen in this day and age, and that's why
he's going to the Hall of Fame.
Right, and that's why Biggio is so revered in Houston. He's hit more than 20 home runs in a season 8 times. He's had 50 or more doubles twice. You know, he's 7th on the all-time doubles list. People don't know some of the marks, some of the lists where Craig Biggio is really, really high. He's the all-time leader in number of times plunked, 283. That's down low. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, we mentioned that he's 2nd in games, 3rd in runs scored, 3rd in home runs. I mean, these are for second basemen, of course, but I mean, these are just impressive numbers.
Stole 30 bases or more 5 times, twice topped 40. He had an on-base percentage of better than 380 on 8 occasions, 4 seasons above 400. And, you know, for a long period of time, he was the premier leadoff man in baseball.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine, though, that the guy came up as a catcher.
Yeah.
And he also went and played the outfield, played center field, played left field when they went out and got Carlos Beltran.
2-2, and Biggio got Hirsch with a huge strikeout on a curveball away.
The 2nd time tonight he's gotten Biggio on the break-in pitch back in the 4th inning. Same pitch, same location, same result. Take a look at the Exmo, and when you see a hitter that far out in front and so much where his front foot is not even in the ground yet as he goes to swing, it just shows you how off balance he is.
Now Hunter Pence is 0 for 2, though his last time up he ripped the ball right at Garrett Atkins. And he has been, along with Carlos Lee, the most productive offensive players in the Houston Astros lineup in a year where they have really struggled to score. And Pence lines it again at Atkins. Again he makes the catch. Everybody scrambles back to their respective bags. And there are 2 outs. And now Hirsch has a great chance to get out of this thing.
Well, first of all, you get the strikeout from Biggio, but then Garrett's able to move back a couple steps, give himself a little bit more range. Luckily, that ball was just about a foot to his left. First place you look, too, is at 3rd base. He had an opportunity to possibly throw across the diamond to get Orlando Palmeiro at first, but your natural reaction is to make sure that that guy from 3rd base doesn't score. By the time he realized that he had an opportunity, Orlando had scampered back to the bag.
And now the struggling Lance Berkman, 0 for 2. Good block by Torrealba. Check an email presented by OfficeLiquidators.com. Ron in Peoria, Arizona. Do you think the Rockies pitchers look more relaxed and confident on the mound with the defense they have behind them? The top defense statistically in the National League. They have to be, don't they, Hugh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, anytime you go out there and you know you have guys behind you and that they can hit the ball, that they're going to be out, it makes everybody relax. Certainly for a pitcher, that's one of your #1 things.
Boy, Berkman, that's just not a Berkman-like. It wasn't a swing, it was a check swing, but, you know, 1-0.
That just goes to show you how bad things are for Lance Berkman right now. Ahead in the count 1-0, you're looking for a fastball. Even a good hitter like that is able to lay off the changeup that's going down and away, but he's just caught in between mechanically.
Ooh, where's that?
Wow.
I'll tell you what, you know it's close when the umpire, the home plate umpire, Ed Hickox, kind of made a nod to his left as if he was questioning himself.
Well, a lot of times they'll also do that to say, no, the pitch was outside. Yorvitz set up just on the outside part of the plate. And that was a good call from Ed Hickox. From the naked eye, it certainly looked like it was on the black.
3-1 on Berkman with Carlos Lee on deck.
Yeah, and this is the guy you want. And we talked about Carlos Lee and his ability to drive in runs. And Berkman, for all of his accolades prior to this year, you want to make sure that you get this guy who is struggling at the plate.
Line drive left center field, and this is going to tie up the ball game. Around third, Palmeiro gets a green light, and it's going to give Houston a lead. In fact, just the second double of the year for Lance Berkman. A 2-run double with 2 outs in the 6th inning, and the Astros lead it 2-1.
Lance drives in his 32nd run of the year on a changeup that was away from him, much like the fastball. Yorvitz wanted it away from him. Only problem, this one was left up. And that's the classic Lance Berkman swing that we've been accustomed to seeing. And the ball was hit in the gap. Orlando Palmeiro can still run. Easily scores for the Astros' second run of the ball game. If Jason would have hit his location with that pitch down and away, he would have got Lance to roll over, ground ball, but that pitch was up.
You go back to that 1-1 pitch. It's always a swing pitch and an at-bat right on the border of being a strike. Called the ball, and the next pitch misses, and you get yourself into a real hitter's count.
Yeah,
they're going to pass on Carlos Lee and go to Mark Loretta.
It's a wise decision, and it's an easy decision to make. I mean, the guy's doing all he does at the plate with the RBIs. You put him on first base, set up the force play. Now you have 2 outs. You go to any base.
If you have a break in your windshield, take it to Elite Auto Glass #1 for more than one reason. Bob Apodaca will go to the mound. We'll check another email. Lauren in Golden wants to know, who do you think deserves the last spots in the pitching rotation, Hirschfog or Buchholz? Well, it's already been decided, Jeff. We learned that before the ball game. Buchholz has been removed from the rotation in favor of Josh Fogg. He'll start Thursday against Houston, and Buchholz will go back to the pen.
Well, I think it's just a natural fit. You know, Taylor's had some experience there. That's where he's pitched out of earlier this year. Yeah, he's pitched well the last few outings, but Josh goes back into that rotation. And then, of course, Jason Hirsch tonight's pitching very well. He's a guy that is more suited to start than he is to go to the bullpen. So now you got the Fogg coming in on Thursday. We see Jorge Julio warming up. And Buchholz back to the pen.
Hirsch got the fastball past Mark Loretta. It's 0-1.
Of course, on Thursday, when Fogg is activated off the DL, the Rockies will have to make a roster move at that point. of the reason why Mark Loretta is hitting behind Carlos Lee. Earlier in the year, at certain points, it's been Morgan Insberg. Mark Loretta's 12 for 23 with runners in scoring position. A .520.
Curveball in the outside corner. It's 1-2. Berkman at second, Lee at first. Neither one of those guys have ever been accused of speeding.
Especially the man at first base, Carlos Lee.
And the fastball hit out in front of the plate. Hirsch will throw out Loretta at first base. In the inning, Lance Berkman, a 2-run, 2-out double, and the Astros lead at 2-1, middle of 6. Welcome back to the Coors Light 6th inning. Now it's time for the Coors Light Cold Blast. Well, Sunday, Garrett Atkins, first time up after sitting down for a couple of days, went deep. And of course, about 3.5 hours later, he would hit a line drive to left that would drive in Kaz Matsui with the game winner. Rockies over the Reds 10-9 on Coors Light Cold Blast from Sunday. And Garrett Atkins will bat second this inning. Todd Helton will be up first. Dave Borkowski takes over for the 19th time this year.
Well, originally, Chad Qualls was up when the Astros were trailing. Now, Phil Garner decides to bring in Dave Borkowski.
What do you got on Borkowski?
Oh, he's one of those guys that's going to sink it, slide it just a little bit, not real overpowering.
This ball pulled foul.
He's really just a two-pitch pitcher, a sinker and a slider. He has pretty good command of that fastball. Use it to both sides of the plate. Slider's his second best pitch, 83 to 86 miles an hour.
Inside on Todd. Todd is 0 for 2 strikeouts in the ball game. A little tardy with that swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
More times tonight than I've probably seen him all year.
Ooh, that was close. 3-2.
How about this? Wandy Rodriguez went 5 innings tonight. 6 out of his last 7 games. Guess how many innings he's gone?
5 innings.
5 innings. Pretty much know what you're going to get from him.
He struck out 7, walked 1.
He gave up 1 earned run, 5 hits.
Yeah, I mean, pretty good numbers. Just took him a lot of pitches to get through 5 innings.
The Astros, much like the Rockies, had yesterday off. Didn't fly in, got into Denver about 8 o'clock last night.
Houston's 10 games under 500. The Rockies just 3 under 500. There are some similarities in that offense has been a problem. Helton drives his deep center field over the head of Pence, and it short hops the wall and kicks her out. Todd is going to try for 3. Here's the throw to third, not in time. Second triple of the game for the Rockies, and for Todd Helton, it is number 1 this year.
Boy, you knew eventually that Todd was going to be able to get a baseball that he could handle. That's exactly what happened. Fastball that worked back over the middle part of the plate. With a guy like Todd with the head extension, the one hand up, the other hand down, the follow through, driving it in into the right center field gap. You know, what allowed him to get to third base, though, was the high kick off the wall. Hunter Pence had a difficult time picking it up. When Todd's coming around second base, he doesn't even need to look at Mike Gallego at third base. He has made the decision that he's going, that he can make it. He made it easily.
Atkins popped it up, and Biggio goes out. So Garrett, 2 doubles, and the Rockies have not done real well in situational at-bats tonight. They had an opportunity in the first inning and the second inning with leadoff doubles to move the runner along, could not. That was a situation right there with the infield back and the outfield fairly deep where the Rockies didn't come through, and they had another one of those situations with Helton in the fourth after a leadoff triple by Matt Holliday. Fortunately, Atkins picked up Helton in that situation. So now the infield comes in with Hop at the plate.
Well, they're going to play it the same exact way as they did earlier in the ball game. Nobody out, they play back. 1 out, they play in.
Hop had a good swing there, 0-1.
I mentioned that tonight so far, the Rockies are 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position.
That affected them greatly last year, and it's affected them quite a bit this year.
Well, and especially, too, where you have the opportunity with the infield back. All you need is a ground ball to drive that run in.
That's a strike. Ed Rapuano with third. That's pretty easy for him to call. There's no question Brad went around. Pulled hard, but right at Berkman. Now it's going to take a 2-out hit. And it'll be up to Troy Tulowitzki. And Troy and Hunter Pence, part of our high energy, Valero high energy play of the day. Tulowitzki having a terrific first season. And Hunter Pence, who came up about 3.5 weeks after the season began, has just torn it up. You can see, even though he wasn't called up to April 28th, he's within 5 hits of Tulowitzki's 53.
There's some good young players in the National League. And Josh Hamilton, Cincinnati, Chris Young, Mark Reynolds from Arizona.
Yeah, Mark Reynolds just came up, and they can't get him out of the lineup.
Yep.
Well, Hamilton returned to the Reds lineup tonight. Inside on Tulowitzki. Well, Rockies had the right guys up too. Atkins, Hop. Atkins is swinging the bat well now over the last couple. And this is in the air to center field. The Rockies are going to have a leadoff triple and not bring them around. Boy, that's been the story of the night. Missed opportunities, situational at bats. 2-1 Houston. Houston leads it 2-1 as we move to the latter third of this ball game, top of the 7th inning. Fans, Quest wants you to experience the ultimate in Rockies baseball. Enter the Quest Home Field Advantage contest, win infield box seats, go on field for batting practice, and much more. Quest brings more Rockies into your life in more ways than ever. Luke Scott will lead it off in the 7th. He broke up Jason Hirsch's perfect game with 2 outs in the 5th with a double to the wall in center field. But Hirsch would get Adam Everett. The 2 runs scored last inning. And they scored with 2 outs with Berkman. Came up with runners at first and third and on a 3-1 pitch. Hit just his 2nd double of the year. This one went to left center field. 2-1 Houston. But from a fundamental standpoint, Huey, the Rockies have really missed some chances tonight.
They've just been bad. Plain and simple. They haven't been able to drive the run in from third base with the infield back especially. When they're giving you that run, you just have to take the approach that I'm going to get up there, get on top of the plate just a little bit, try to stay on top of the baseball.
Center field, broken bat base hit for Luke Scott. Let's check an email. All right, you show a shot of the batter at Coors Field that seems to be taken in midair directly above the batter. How do you do that, Nancy in Denver? It's very simple. We have A fellow by the name of Brian Peters is one of the top camera operators in the country. There's BP. Brian, wave for everybody. To see how big and strong Brian is, what he does for that particular shot is he runs out to center field and he picks up Donnie Mills. We have Donnie on camera. We're going to show Donnie here in a second. Slug bunt was on. 0-1. He runs out. There's Donnie, and Donnie's not quite as big, right? So he runs out, and Brian goes and picks up Donnie, and he hangs him by his ankles, and Donnie holds onto a camera. Not that one. It's a smaller one because that would be too heavy. And then they get that, you know, Donnie's got to hold it in a steady manner. There it is. And then looking straight down, you get that shot, Nancy. Had a perfectly good story going, and then they show the real camera. Brian may be strong enough to hold. I think he is to hold Donnie upside down. And Brian, you could do that. You'd like to do that and shake him around a little bit, wouldn't you, Brian?
See how much money falls out.
Absolutely. I don't know how much money would fall out, but maybe clear up some of the fogginess in Donnie's head. So he can't respond right now. Mills always gets me, so I'm getting him back right now. 0-1. And the breaking pitch, check swing by Adam Everett, didn't go around. 1-1. Let's check and see if Donnie's mad at us now, or mad at me. Give me a shot at Mills again. Mills, you upset with me? Nah, I'll get you back. Here's Travis. Travis is known as the EIC, the engineer in charge of our truck tonight. Now, obviously, things are going very well in the truck because Travis is out there sunning himself in center field.
Eating some peanuts, too.
Right. But if things start to break, you won't see Travis out there anymore. I don't know why Travis is hanging out with Donnie. Of all the guys to hang out with on our crew. Ball and a strike on Everett with Brad Ausmus on deck. One and two. Another email. This from Diana in Falcon. With the Yankees coming up soon, what is your opinion on A-Rod yelling, "I got it"? I don't know if he said exactly that. It's debatable. As the opposing team was fielding. Huey?
I don't like it. I mean, I think A-Rod's too good of a player to do something like that. I just think it's one of those unwritten rules that you don't yell anything. At the same time, though, as a third baseman, go ahead and catch the baseball.
Well, this curveball goes all the way to the screen, and now Luke Scott goes to second base. Now, you played for 10 years in the infield. Have you ever seen that happen?
No, you'll see it or you'll hear it when you go over towards the dugouts. And guys over there, especially the opposing team, when you go over there, they'll be yelling at you, but you have to expect it when you go there. And not when you're out on the field, camped underneath the fly ball.
Two and two. And this is popped up and maybe playable. Nope. Torrealba hoping to have an opportunity.
It's about 3 feet more room and he would have had that baseball. Jeremy Affeldt and Jorge Julio warming up in the bullpen. Pitcher spots coming up in a few spots.
3 and 2. Well, right now, we talked a lot about this on Sunday. George and I did about bullpen having to keep a ball game close and give your offense an opportunity. Hirsch is the starter. He needs to keep this thing right now at 2-1. You got a runner on second base, 3 and 2 count, nobody out. Bottom of the order.
That's the key to the bottom of the order. Guys that haven't been productive so far in the year for the Astros. This is Jason's 90th pitch coming up.
Talk about getting in his kitchen. He
Well,
knocked everything off the counter with that pitch.
Somehow, some way, he was able to foul it off. And take a look at the pitch speeds. 90-mile-an-hour fastball dropped down to 76, 74 with a couple curveballs. Change up at 75, and then 91, 90 again. It's brought to you by Panasonic Plasma.
In the air down the right field line. If this is fair, it could be a big problem. It is a fair ball. Hop grabs it, and diving to second is Everett. Stopping at third base is Luke Scott. He had to wait to make sure that thing dropped. Second and third, nobody out. Brad Ausmus coming up.
Well, Jason did everything he could in that instance. You see Clint Hurdle coming out to make a pitching change, but he made a good pitch, good location. Adam Everett just dropped it about a foot in front of the line on right field.
Now it'll be the right-hander Jorge Julio. Clint Hurdle needing strikeouts. Jason Hirsch will depart. Nobody out in the 7th inning. Jorge Julio, the new pitcher for the Rockies, and he inherits a pretty good jam. Second and third, nobody out. The Rockies trailing 2-1. Brad Ausmus at the plate, who's always handled the bat well. The Rockies have to pull the infield in here in the top of the 7th inning. Julio called upon for his ability to get strikeouts.
Well, that's what he needs in this instance with second and third, nobody out. Done a pretty good job so far. He's retired 9 out of the last 10 batters he's faced, allowing only 1 hit during that span. Ausmus in his career off Julio is 1 for 1. And so far on the year is 3 for 33 with runners in scoring position.
1-1.
He was geared up for that fastball, and Jorge threw him the slider. Saw the head jerk out.
While we have a meeting at the mound, let's check another email. Do you think Brad Ausmus could have been the Rockies' catcher of the future if he had not been traded away in 1993? That's from Chris in Colorado Springs, who has a very good memory. Well, here's the thing with Ausmus. Back then, he was traded after he was picked up in the expansion draft from the Yankees. He was traded along with a couple other players for Greg Harris and Bruce Hurst. Rockies were in desperate need of pitching back then, and at the time he was traded, he was playing minor league baseball. He had never come to the big leagues, so you're trading a minor league catcher at the time who was a 48th round pick originally of the New York Yankees. So it's not like you were trading Pudge Rodriguez and you knew it. I'm not saying that Brad Ausmus wasn't fairly well thought of at the time, but I don't think anybody believed that Brad Ausmus would still be playing in 2007 and would have put together the career that he's put together, and to get 2 veteran starting pitchers. And now they have Scott hung up. That's just a blunder by Scott, and the first out is recorded on the base pass. Unless the squeeze was on, he missed it.
It was, and the Rockies caught a break because the slider was
on. Excuse me, it wasn't a blunder by Scott. Though I tell you what, he didn't break initially. It was a safety squeeze.
Yeah, it was a safety squeeze, and what you do in that instance is make sure that the ball is down. But with a guy like Ausmus who can put the ball in play, you're thinking that the ball is going to be down. But as I mentioned, the Rockies caught a break with that high slider right at the head of Ausmus. I'm surprised that Phil would put that on with nobody out. Typically, you see the squeeze play put on with 1 out.
That's ball 4 to Ausmus. So now it's first and second, 1 out.
Now it also changes the thinking of Phil Garner. If they would have got that run in, good chance Borkowski would have stayed into the ball game. And now he's gone to his bench.
Now, with Luke Scott, on a safety squeeze, on a suicide squeeze, he's coming, he's running.
Yeah,
he's got to see the ball down, so
right.
he's got to be able to get back if the ball's not bunted.
Right, and what happened is he got caught going too far and too much momentum on his front leg. Now Phil has to go to Mike Lamb. You know, with a regular squeeze, what you're taught is you wait until that arm is up and that front foot is down in the ground. As soon as that the arm gets up into the throwing motion, the pitcher can't change where he's going to throw the baseball.
And now it's Lamb up there, Clint Hurdle.
He's going to go to the lefty, and Jeremy Affeldt play matchup lefty on lefty.
Two to one Houston, one out in the seventh. 2-1 Houston. Julio gone after walking the only man he faced, Brad Ausmus, and Jeremy Affeldt will take over. Let's go to Tim Ring at the Chevy Sports Desk for another game update. Tim?
Hey, Drew, this is the kind of game that would have made a young Drew Goodman in upstate New York cry. The Mets at home tonight in extra innings fall to the Phillies. Phils put up 2 in the 11th. Abraham Nunez, the RBI here. Phils knock off the Mets at Shea, 4-2 the final.
Well, you're probably right about that. Tim, thanks for the update. Mike Lamb will step in against Jeremy Affeldt.
Well, he's going to stay in there because he is 4 for 9 and off lefties, 444. But Jeremy allowing left-handed hitters a 182 average against. It's a numbers game.
Affeldt was the only member of the Rockies pen not to work on Sunday.
He's still second on the ball club with 27 appearances. Go-to guy from the left side for Clint Hurdle.
Opposition just 5 for their last 32 against Affeldt. And look at Lamb. He wanted no part of that curveball.
Mike might be 4 for 9 off lefties, but he hasn't seen too many curveballs like that before.
And he gets another one. This is a double play ball. Nicely done by Affeldt. No runs come around. Second and third, nobody out. Missed opportunities, the story of this game. Astros lead it 2-1. Friday, get a look around the big leagues with FSN Baseball Report, covering every team all season long with highlights, interviews, and analysis. FSN Baseball Report. Check it out Friday at 4:30 p.m. right here on FSN Rocky Mountain.
There's an old Houston jersey.
You like those old uniforms? I thought they looked like softball uniforms.
They were awful bright.
Goes back to the days when they had J.R. Richard, Mike Scott, Nolan Ryan. Pretty good pitching staff.
Craig Reynolds at shortstop. Jose Cruz,
who's in the ballpark tonight.
First base coach for the Astros.
Torrialbo leaded off against Chad Qualls in the bottom of the 7th inning. Qualls, third pitcher utilized tonight by Phil Garner. Both teams have been struggling to score runs on a consistent basis, and that theme has continued tonight. We've seen more blown opportunities in this ball game than I've seen in quite some time.
With guys at third base and less than 2 outs, and now Chad Qualls is into the ball game for Phil Garner. He's allowed runs in 5 out of his last 6 appearances, following a stretch where he's pretty good for 8, not allowing a run. Talk about 2-pitch pitchers. This is the definition right here. He doesn't have another pitch besides a fastball and a slider. That's all he throws. That's why he comes in late in the ball game.
in the air to deep right field. Will this get over the head of the right fielder, Scott? No. He pulls it in.
Talk about Chad Qualls being able to throw 91, 94 miles an hour. But he gets great balance before he decides to go to the plate, and then gets the arm out and really points the glove right towards home plate. That's exactly where he's going with the baseball, and then drives that shoulder down and through and gets the full extension out in front.
Jeff Baker will pinch hit here in the 7th for Affel.
Don't forget Saturday, June 16th, game against the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. The first 10,000 fans through the gates will receive a Father's Day tie courtesy of Macy's. Get your tickets at any Rockies ticket outlet or online at ColoradoRockies.com.
Dave Wallace done with his conversation.
Well, for a young guy, Bake's done a pretty good job this year in a pinch hitting role. 6 for 19. Tough spot for a young guy to learn to hitting coming off the bench.
One and one. Horatio in Inglewood wants to know who will be the DH for the Rockies against the American League. I think the guy at the plate is a pretty good candidate.
You're looking at him.
Rockies also could use Ryan Spilborghs.
Well, the other thing too, a lot of times you'll use a DH as a day off for somebody, but the Rockies then have Monday off after the Baltimore series before they travel to Boston to open up the series.
This ball is hit high in the air to left field, but just underneath it. And it'll be a relatively easy play for Carlos Lee off the bat. You thought Baker may have run into one, but then looked like he got it more toward the end of the bat, just underneath it. 2 outs.
Well, Carlos Lee also thought the same thing. His first 2 steps were back, and then he had to come racing in at the last second.
Well, Willie Taveras against his old club again. He had a double in the 1st inning, and this was where the Rockies didn't execute. In this case, Willie made a base running error on a ground ball right in front of him. A 1 hopper. He tried to cross in front of the shortstop, Everett. There's they call that a foul ball?
They said he was still in the box. As long as that ball makes contact with the batter, as he still has his foot in the box, it's a foul ball. And that did make contact before his foot left. It was in fair territory. And stop it as soon as he bunts it. He's still in the box before he takes that next step. Brad Osmus certainly thought that it hit him after his foot had left. He's still talking to Ed Rapuano at third base. And they got the call right. Even with 1 strike on Willie, look at Mark Loretta at third base. He's right in on the grass and hugging the line.
Let's get another email from Woodland Park, Colorado. Eric wants to know how many more at bats does Willie Taveras need to be ranked among the league leaders in hitting. He needed 5 tonight. This is his 4th. And he's hitting .327 right now, which would be 5th best in the National League. He's going to get there, if not tonight, tomorrow. Ground ball, second base. Rockies go quietly in the 7th inning. And Taveras made that close. 2-1 Houston. 7 chapters closed at Coors Field. Tomorrow night on your way to the game, make sure to stop by the sports column for Fans Night Out. Meet Keith Blyer at 5:30 for trivia, drink specials, and a chance to sing the national anthem at Coors Field. Fans Night Out tomorrow night before the game at the sports column. And make sure you wish Keith well, because he's soon off to Bend, Oregon. Do a little television and coach soccer. Yeah.
Good for him.
You bet. LaTroy Hawkins takes over in the 8th inning. Craig Biggio, Hunter Pence, and Lance Berkman 2-1 Houston.
Yeah, Troy came in on Sunday, retired all 3 batters that he faced. He's tossed 4 1/3 scoreless in his 5 appearances since coming back off the DL.
More on Craig Biggio. Since the Rockies and Astros only played twice this year, 22 hits shy of 3,000. 20 years in an Astros uniform. Bob Knepper, Buddy Bell, guys like that were in the clubhouse when he first arrived in the big leagues in 1988. Mike Scott was still around. Nolan Ryan was still around. 4 National Leaguers have been with the same team since opening day 1995. Biggio, Bonds, Trevor Hoffman, and John Smoltz. That's it.
It's amazing, just 4 guys.
Ground ball to Kaz Matsui. Biggio still 22 hits shy of 3,000, 1 out.
Don't forget Wednesday, June 20th, the Yankees are in town. The first 20,000 fans through the gates will receive a baseball cap, courtesy of FSN. Tickets are going quickly. You can get your tickets today at any Rockies ticket outlet or online at ColoradoRockies.com.
Pence a pop out and 2 line shots right at Garrett Atkins.
It's called coming out of your shoes on that swing.
Pence lit it up during spring training, but was sent to AAA Round Rock. He called in late April, and he has been a fixture for the Astros in their lineup ever since. He plays the game right. He plays it with high energy. And so far, he's played it at a very high level also, showing pop and extra base hit ability.
I asked before the ball game if guys were mad because he ran so hard and did so many things that a lot of veteran guys will take offense to it. But they really embrace this young man. Just, you need guys that have energy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with running hard all the time. There's nothing wrong with playing the game the right way.
I don't think anybody in the game likes when they perceive it to be false.
Some guys' personalities are just that way. Hunter Pence is one of those guys.
See, I think Eric Burns is one of those guys. Swung on and missed. Hawkins strikes out. Hunter Pence, 2 gone. Bandimere Speedway presents Thunder on the Mountain on Sunday, June 17th. Tickets available at the track or at bandimere.com. Thunder on the Mountain, June 17th. Berkman has the big hit in this ball game. A slumping Lance Berkman, who came into the contest with just 1 double all year. Unloaded a 2-run double to left center field in the 6th inning. And that's where we stand right now, 2-1. Wandy Rodriguez on the plus side. Jason Hirsch, who pitched very well, in particular the first 5 innings, is on the wrong side of things.
Pretty good outing from Jason tonight. I mentioned at 6 in the 3rd. Only 5 hits, 2 runs. Pitched out of trouble a couple times.
Two 2-0 on Berkman. He's going to figure it out again soon. You just hope Houston's moved on.
Yeah. No longer facing the Rockies.
Berkman, a product of Rice University. Pretty good friends with the guy at first base for Colorado. 2 avid outdoorsmen, Berkman and Helton.
Choi's going back outside with the hard fastball.
94 miles an hour, 3-2.
That's what you've seen from LaTroy once he came back off the DL, that 93, 94 mile an hour fastball again. A little bit of movement that makes the slider that much tighter.
Strike three. Berkman is incensed as he's now taking a bunch of steps, now jogging toward Ed Rapawano, and they're going to try to cut him off.
Too late.
He got thrown out already. Rapawano just threw out Berkman.
Ed gave him a warning, said don't come over here. Lance barely got halfway there, and Eddie threw him out.
It's been a frustrating year for Berkman. I'll tell you what, Lance, you never know in a one-run ball game. They may need his bat could come up again. That's a big ejection potentially. Looked like he held up, but we have the ability to slow it down. But here's the pitch again, a 3-2 pitch from Hawkins.
Well, take a look at it.
I thought he held up.
Certainly, Lance thought he held up. They called from Ed Rapawano, said he did swing, and now he's telling him right now, don't come over any closer, don't come towards me. As soon as he did, then he just threw him out. He gave him an opportunity not to go over there, and Lance just kept going and going and going. Now he's leaving the field, and he's going to let Ed know he's not too happy. First, it's the batting gloves. Next thing you know, bag of balls. And at this point, guys in the dugout have to make sure they get him out of there so nothing else happens.
Well, what's going on now? Clint Hurdle is upset about something, and he's having a conference with the entire crew.
Well, just ask Clint to leave the huddle for a second.
Any idea what this is about?
I have no idea.
Phil Garner's had to make a couple of changes. Now the home plate umpire, Ed Hickox, is going over to talk to Phil Garner.
One thing I could surmise, it might be something to do with where he put Brad Lidge in the lineup. Could he put him in for Berkman? Maybe a double switch.
Well, that has to be the point of contention.
Yeah. I don't know if you throw a guy out.
Yeah, evidently you must not be able to double switch.
I don't think you can when you throw somebody out of the ball game.
And
that's what Phil probably tried to do.
Right. Phil probably tried to put Morgan Ensberg, who's now at third base, in the 9-hole. Brad Lidge, who's now on the mound, the former Cherry Creek star, up on the scoreboard in the 9-hole. Mark Loretta has moved from third to first. Rockies will have Kaz Matsui, Matt Holliday, and Todd Helton when this inning gets going. There's Morgan Ensberg.
And that's exactly what it was about. As you saw Ed Hickox, the home plate umpire, signal to Brad Lidge that he was going in straight up. So he does have to go into the number 9 slot in the batting order.
Lidge is on a tremendous roll. He followed Brad's career, one of the top closers in the game in the last couple of years, and it dates to the playoffs of 2 years ago. He has struggled, but after losing his closer's role now as a setup man, he has been terrific.
Well, he just hasn't allowed a run in 13 out of his last 14 outings. I mean, there's some talk from scouts. You talk to them, they're wondering out loud why Brad Lidge isn't the closer again. And that's how dominating his stuff is. Dan Wheeler is the closer now for the Astros. He is 9 for 9 in save appearances.
Lidge has that overpowering fastball. Some scouts believe he falls too much in love with his slider.
And that takes away from your fastball. When you can rush it up there at 96, 97 miles an hour, you still talk about the fastball being the #1 pitch of anybody.
This ball is hit well right center field, but on the run making the catch is Luke Scott. So a loud first out off the bat of Kaz Matsui. Our sonic good replays of the ball game. Triples. There have been 2 of them in the ball game. Matt Holliday leading off in the 4th inning, and he would score. Todd Helton led off the 6th with a triple, and the Rockies could not bring him around. You hope that does not cost the Rockies. But the Rockies are down to their final 5 outs, trailing by a run. After there's been a solid area, at least of late, with this Houston team. The offense has been terrible, but their bullpen has been pretty sound on the plus side.
Right up there in strikeouts as well.
0-2. That fastball at 97.
I mentioned it, the Houston relievers are 3rd in the National League with 164 strikeouts.
They average almost a strikeout an inning. And this is popped up down the right field line and playable for Scott. 2 gone.
You mentioned Brad Lidge and his ability to strike out hitters, and we'll see some of those guys. Heath Bell, setup guy for San Diego. Trevor Hoffman is a closer. There's some power arms. Chad Billingsley, Jonathan Broxton, all these guys rush it up there a lot like Lidge at 96, 97 miles an hour. Another 96 mile an hour fastball. Todd in his career off Lidge is 2 for 4.
Helton a triple and 3 trips tonight. Let's go back in this ball game. Rockies have had 2 leadoff doubles, 2 leadoff triples in the game. You get a runner to second base with nobody out, you're going to score more than half the time that run.
We talk about situational hitting.
Right. So now you have 4 opportunities, great opportunities in this ball game to score runs, and the Rockies are 1 for 4.
And you never know how it might snowball either. It puts more pressure on the pitcher. Rodriguez hasn't been a guy that's gone deep into ball games. Score early, score a couple runs. Next thing you know, he gives up a 4 spot.
Rockies 1 for 14 with runners in scoring position tonight. That in itself tells you about this game. Yeah. And a line drive down the right field line. Scott has it kicked away. Helton may have himself another triple. A stand-up triple is second of the game. Has he ever had 2 in a ball game? We'll check that out. Well, it wasn't working well getting leadoff triples. Maybe the 2-out triple will work.
Well, maybe it will. And now you talk about falling in love with the slider, and that's exactly what Brad Lidge did on the pitch to Helton. Just got it inside. The Exmos show the great strength of Todd Helton. Even with that front foot opening up just a little bit, he's able to stay back enough with his strong hands and wrists and drive it into the corner. Rattles around. He's allowed to easily stand up at third base.
Ball one on Garrett Atkins, who's hit it hard twice in the game, 2 doubles and a pop out.
With 2 outs now, the outfielders for the Astros want to make sure there's no doubles. They backed up 3 to 5 steps.
That's a ball 2-0. Well, we have our answer. It's the second time in Helton's career he has had 2 triples in a game. In 2002 at Arizona, he had a ball game where he also produced 2 triples in a game. It's the 11th time a Rockies player has had 2 triples in one ball game. 2-0 on Atkins, trying to tie it up. Fouled off, foul play. Corey Sullivan's the last Rocky to do it before Helton last April 9th in San Diego. And again, it's fouled off. 98 miles an hour on that fastball.
He turned it up a little bit. The pitch before that Garrett had fouled off was 96. Almost the same location. Now he goes back 98. But you can see where they're trying to work Garrett. Everything they're working away, away, away. It's not unusual late in the ball game, going out again. That pitch was in. Ausmus wanted it out. That slider backed up, stayed inside.
Three and 2 on Atkins. And Lidge took something off and strikes out Garrett Atkins, leaving Helton at third. 8 complete, 2-1 Houston. We are still locked in at 2-1, hard as that may be to believe. Let's go from the ballpark to our FSN studios. Chevy Sports Desk, here's Tim Ring.
All right, Drew, just a reminder, coming up after the game, the Chevy postgame report, all the clubhouse reaction, including Clint Hurdle's postgame press conference in its entirety. Also, Garrett Atkins, it appears the swing is back after taking a few days off. And also, Gary Sheffield's comments continue to cause a stir. We'll get Roger and Sam's views on that as well. It's all coming up right after the game.
All right, Tim, thanks very much. Manny Corpus takes over in the top of the 9th inning. Carlos Lee, Mark Loretta, and Luke Scott, the 3 hitters he will face.
We'll get Manny Corpus to 28 appearances, is tied for first on the team. Pretty good strikeout to innings pitched. And these are all relievers for the Rockies with those 23.
Corpus just got a piece of Lee. And Lee with something to say. And now Corpus coming in. Now both benches are going to empty. The second time we've seen the benches empty in the last week. Hurdle has taken Corpus aside out by the mound. Lee is still squawking. We always try to think back and wonder, was there history when Lee was in Milwaukee?
Well, the thing about it is, think about this. It's a 2-1 ball game in the top of the 9th inning. He's not going to hit him with the very first pitch.
No, I tell you what, if somebody ever did that, it's pretty selfish.
Yeah. And Carlos Lee is the one that instigated this whole thing by squawking out to Manny Corpus on the mound. It's a sinker that he was just trying to work in. That's where you have to pitch dangerous hitters. It just came up and got away from him. I mean, I'm sure Carlos is thinking, you know what, that was up towards my head. It was behind me. But now here is where it all starts. He starts staring him down, yelling things at him. Whoever's trying to get in between them, the umpire, Ed Hickox, is doing the same.
And Hickox has warned Manny Corpus, I think warned both benches. That's why Clint asking for an explanation as to why. He's probably saying the same thing you just did. He said it's a 2-1 game. We're not trying to hit anybody.
Yeah, why are you going to warn anybody? I mean, if it's 10-1, it's one thing. And what Phil's arguing now is, why are you warning if I don't have an opportunity? But I don't. That's a way to keep things from getting out of control.
And Rapalano's throwing out another Astro. I think there's some carryover here from the Berkman check swing, to be honest with you, because Garner gets into it with Rapalano. He did not get into it with the home plate umpire, Ed Hickox, who issued the warnings.
It has to be part of the carryover from the Berkman incident earlier in the ball game in the 8th inning. Take a look at the, you get guys coming out of the bullpen, all the pitchers and those guys. Well, one guy that's not allowed, though, once he's out of the ball game to be coming into the picture, right at the end, right at the last second, right here, this man right here, that's Lance Berkman. You can't come out of the dugout once you've been kicked out of the ball game.
That may cost Lance Berkman a ball game.
Yeah, ball game or two.
In fact, I would be surprised if it didn't.
Oh, it has to. Because once you're kicked out of the ball game, you cannot come back to the bench area. You have to stay in the locker room.
Well, we mentioned Bob Watson earlier. Bob Watson will be reviewing that piece of tape sometime in the wee hours of the night. Mark Loretta with Lee at first. And we resume playing baseball, 0-1. The one thing that is interesting about all of this is that Carlos Lee is from Panama. There are not many Panamanians in the game. There's one other Panamanian in this ball game standing on the hill.
Well, and there's certainly something could be carried over from winter ball. I just think if you go back and you look at the ball game and where it stands right now, and I go back to a 2-1 ball game, that's as far back as you have to go. Why is he going to try to throw at it?
Again, I agree. And if there's something going on that most everybody else is unaware of, a 2-1 ball game is not the time to put your personal issues in front of the teams.
Because it's all about getting those 3 outs so you can come up in the bottom part of the 9th inning, give your ball club a chance to win.
Luke Scott 2 for 3 in the game. He broke up the perfect game for Jason Hirsch with 2 outs in the 5th inning with a double off the center field wall. Well, the way this ball game started, you didn't think it would still be 2-1 this far along. I mean, Hirsch was outstanding. Wandy Rodriguez was pretty good, but he was getting all the big outs. Looked like the Rockies were going to score runs. I mean, it's not often you have 3 triples in a game. It's the 8th time the Rockies have produced 3 triples in a game. They also have 2 doubles, so you have 5 extra base hits and only 1 run.
Well, part of that's 1 for 14 with the runners in scoring position.
Now, all of that is.
But you also look to
missed moving runners.
Yeah, missed opportunity to get the runner over with the double in the first inning. And then think back all the way to the first inning.
There have been 2 times in this ball game. All you needed was a ground ball or a fly ball of medium length, and you have a run.
And you get neither. The first inning, second inning, it happened. On the flip side, both bullpens have been pretty good. The Rockies, Jorge Julio, Jeremy Affeldt, and LaTroy Hawkins last inning. Dave Borkowski, Chad Qualls, Brad Lidge for the Astros.
Left field and deep. Holiday going back, and it's gone. An opposite field 2-run home run by Luke Scott, his 6th of the year. And the Astros now lead it 4-1.
Well, Luke's not known to be able to drive the ball out the other way. Most of his power is to the pull side, but he's able to get the ball up and get his hands and weight transfer to drive the ball over the head of Matt Holliday just above the yellow line. Fan catches it, foot on the other side. Talk about Luke Scott's swing from our Exmo. Nice, slow, compact swing. He's already got the drive and the hips rotation going that way, and that allows him to stay on the baseball and drive it out the other way.
0-1 on Adam Everett. Sliders in there for a strike. It's 0-2. That's just the 2nd home run Corpus has allowed this year in 28 and the 3rd innings. Atkins literally runs up the hill. 2 outs. Brad Ausmus 0 for 1. He's walked twice in the game. Good crowd tonight, more than 27,000, and their energy has been taken away by that 2-run home run off the bat of Luke Scott.
Looking to the bottom half of the 9th inning for the Rockies. Yeah, Brad Hopp, Troy Tulowitzki, and Yorvit Torrealba 1, 2, 3 in the pitcher's spot.
And Austin sits it back to Corpus. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Astros have added 2. It's 4-1 Houston. Houston leading 4-1, first of 3 between the Rockies and Astros from Coors Field. Bottom of the 9th inning upcoming. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Colorado Rockies and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies. Dan Wheeler, who has had the closer's role for the Houston Astros for now a good portion of the season. He's 9 of 10.
Oh, not too bad, but his last outing wasn't very good against St. Louis, allowing 3 runs in only an inning and 2/3 for his second loss on the season. Opponents are hitting .216. The lefties are only hitting .158 against Dan.
Brad Hopp, the reigning player of the week in the National League, will lead things off. Rockies need a bunch of base runners now.
We'll see, being down by 3 runs, if the Rockies hitters take till they get a strike.
This has been an odd game. And how many times do you watch the ball game and you see missed opportunities early on? And on one hand, you say, well, there's still a lot of baseball left, and oftentimes it doesn't factor in. But there's a great number of times it does, because the other hand says, man, you hope that doesn't come back to haunt the club you're rooting for. And right now, it looks like it's going to.
And you never know when you're gonna be able to score those runs. Score them early, score them late, it doesn't matter, but you have to take advantage of the opportunities when they're presented to you. I just still think back to the not being able to manufacture any runs, playing small ball, whatever you want to call it. Situational hitting.
That's in there, 2-2.
Dan Wheeler, the closer now for the Astros, relies just a little bit more on deception. Not overpowering like a Brad Lidge, some of the other guys that come out of that bullpen.
He's also one of those guys that likes to try to deceive the hitter by working his hand in the glove as if, you know,
he's trying to trick somebody.
Right.
Yeah, I always like those guys that sit there, and then as he goes in, he'll fan his glove a little bit to make you think that he's trying to get a different pitch. Maybe it's off speed. Right now, he's already grabbing the baseball in a forked ball grip.
Loretta goes to the bag, 1 out. If you have a break in your windshield, take it to Elite Auto Glass, #1 for more than one reason.
Talk about Wheeler. Take a look and we'll really slow it down, give you an idea of what I'm talking about. See the movement on the hand. Right now he's trying to deceive the hitter as it's going back and forth, really kind of lulling you to sleep, thinking that he's trying to get a changeup grip, trying to get something off speed, and then he throws the fastball.
Tulowitzki swings at the first pitch. What happened to the idea that when you're down, you take a strike?
Well, and that's what I mentioned to start this inning. Interesting to see what the Rockies would do. Down by 3 runs, do you take a strike? A guy that
you can't hit a 3-run home run with nobody on base.
And that's really kind of old school, if you will. I remember coming up, that's all you did. You were down by 1 or 2, 3 runs. You took till you got a strike to see if he could possibly walk you, get on base anyhow, anyway.
2 outs, nobody on. Yorvi Torrealba for 2 and a walk. And he takes a strike.
Yorvik gets on. Ryan Spilborghs has grabbed a bat on the on-deck circle.
Ball and 2 strikes on Torrealba. Rockies with 7 hits tonight, 5 extra base hits.
About that, 3 triples, 2 doubles.
Actually, you know what? I'm wrong. They have 7 hits, 6 extra base hits, 3 triples, 3 doubles.
That's right. Garrett back in the 2nd and the 4th.
And Willie Taveras in the bottom of the 1st. With the base running error by Willie. That ruined that scoring opportunity. And there's your ball game. Houston, losers of 14 of 17, come to Coors Field and they win the opening game of this 3-game set 4-1. The winning pitcher, Wandy Rodriguez, he's 3-5. The losing pitcher, Jason Hirsch, the former Astro, now 2-6. And Wheeler, 1-2-3 ninth for his 10th save. Our Gatorade player of the game is Luke Scott. He had 3 hits tonight. And it was 2-1 when he came up in the 8th inning and he hit an opposite field 2-run home run to give the Houston Astros some padding going to that 9th inning. Again, the final score 4-1. The Astros over the Rockies tonight. The Rockies.